6:05 on Monday the 27th. All 5 board members are present today. Please stand for our invocation. Dear God, I ask you to be with us tonight at our meeting. Let us get our business taken care of, get this ESD moving in the right direction. And good Lord, watch over us, all our travels. Who's going home for the meeting tonight? Ask for everyone to pray for all the hospital, medical folks, doctors, nurses, EMTs, firefighters dealing with the whole COVID still going on. Let me get over that deal. For all the folks that are affected by the hurricane down south. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a Texas flag.
I'll go buy a little one.
All right. Any input from the citizens? I know somebody wanted to speak to the fire department.
You're first.
Item for the fire department.
Do you have a deal? Yeah.
Item B.
Okay. You're free for a few minutes. We'll move on to review and approval of the meeting minutes. Back of that. Is it your one?
No, this is
The third sheet. Do you have another copy of those?
you have the execution.
Oh yeah, I got this one. This one I need to sign.
Okay, item B. The board discussed district staffing, but the meeting ended with M. Jackson had to leave, a quorum was lost, no action taken.
That's my recollection of how that happened.
No, I think that's wrong.
Okay. How would you like to do it?
Okay, so
Well, what I recorded in the secretary, that maybe Mr. Jackson would like to explain it.
There's nothing to explain.
Did you resign? Yes, no.
Yes, I did. I was asked to come back.
An effective resignation has to be tendered in writing to the board and then the commissioner's court. Did you tender a writing to the board that said you resigned?
No, sir, I didn't.
And I asked him to come back.
So it's not an effective resignation.
So we can resign anytime we want to, and go by letter?
No, you can resign effectively by providing written notice to the board, which will then be taken to commissioner's court. There's
Well,
an
I'd like
effective way to do it.
B to be, show what did happen. Since the meeting had to end and we still had business to take care of.
We were doing nothing.
So you just want an amendment to the minutes?
Yes.
I'm not quite sure I understand what Mr. Jacobs' issue is. It states that Mr. Jackson left, which is in fact what happened. Quorum was lost, which is in fact what happened, and the meeting ended at 7 o'clock, which is in fact what happened. I don't know what else we could add to it, Mr. President.
I said, we have to have a reason, and it was stated. That's what I want to know. And my point is, again, then if you resign, I can say I can resign tonight, but I don't resign until I turn it over.
Yes,
Is that what you said?
that's exactly what the law is.
actually, the resignation wouldn't take place until it was voted on by Commissioner's Court,
Yes,
correct?
the resignation is not effective until the Commissioner's Court for Wilson County
Receives it in writing.
So you want it to be clear that he stated he was resigning? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Can that be added to the minutes?
You can handwrite it on that one if you'd like, Mr. President. I don't think it's germane to the minutes, but if Mr. Jacobs thinks it is, then by all means.
I need to do it to this one we're supposed to sign?
Yeah, just go ahead and write it on there.
So I made an amendment to the meeting minutes. I just stated that Mr. Jackson stated that he resigns his seat on the board. Is there any other addition or corrections to be made on the minutes?
Yeah, on item A. So we're gonna go with South Trust as a bank, but our secondary bank needs to be Frost.
If we voted on that.
We didn't discuss
Oh.
Mr. Gates. We can do that again, I mean.
Well, we knew there was gonna be more. We're gonna have to get
There has to
other
be more than one bank.
institutions.
Yeah.
Right, but to start out with, to
Yeah,
get going.
South Trust to be the first one, and then Frost be the
Yeah.
second.
That's kinda where we were at on that. I mean, we know we're gonna have to get another one.
I think we were
Or
waiting,
multiples.
they were gonna send you some information, I think.
Yeah, I just need to get stuff from Commissioner's Court on the same stuff we have to turn into South Trust.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Saying we're
once-
actually an entity.
Once we had that packet, it'd be good
Right,
to go where we
right.
need to go with it. Is there any correction you needed there then? Okay. So all those, like I say, all the corrections and additions have been made to the minutes. All those in favor of accepting these, say aye. All those opposed, say no. And the motion passed. All right. We're gonna move on to new business. On item A, discussion and possible action regarding finalizing and accepting a proposed budget and proposed tax rate and set date certain for public hearings to finalize both in August. I had, I know in our last meeting, we didn't get to go to it. I wanted to get a timeline set up and to have our meetings. Mr. Caldwell, maybe you could give us a time frame of when we need to have their meetings and the
We have to post,
public hearings.
we have to post the public notice of the meeting that we're gonna set tonight. It has to be done by the 7th, it'll be done next Tuesday, which is the 4th, I believe. We cannot have the meeting any sooner than 5 days from there. So the soonest you could have your meeting would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 9th. But basically tonight, you'll need to determine a date you wanna have a public hearing on your proposed tax rate and also your budget, your proposed budget that you've created. You can do them both on the same night, just do one and then do the next. And then at that time, it's up to the board if they actually wanna vote on the budget, they don't have to. You can still continue to work on the budget. That's proposed at that point, but you do have to have one public hearing. And it has to be 5 days after it's posted in the Wilson County News, which effectively will be on the 4th. And it'll be on our website. The budget that y'all come up with, I need a copy of that. I don't have what y'all been doing, working copy. I need a copy of that to post on the webpage.
That's what you let in?
You might have some. I mean, but whatever we end up going with, that's an attachment to that resolution that I prepared. It actually it's gonna be the second resolution there, sir. Yes. Resolved that the attached exhibit is the proposed annual budget for the district for fiscal year 2021. And then the next resolution item states that the meeting will be at whatever date it is.
Mr. President, I think our regular scheduled board meeting is the 10th. That's the second Monday. We could have the budget hearing / meeting prior to our regular scheduled meeting, and do both. Do our regular scheduled meeting after the budget workshop or budget hearing, the setting of the proposed tax rate, and approval of the proposed budget prior to our regular scheduled meeting.
Do you mean the 11th, sir?
The 11th?
The 11th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So you're saying August the 11th?
August 11th is our regular scheduled meeting.
Mhm.
So we'll do, I propose that we do the budget hearing and the proposal of the tax rate and the budget on the 11th, prior to our regular scheduled meeting.
Okay.
Our meeting's at 6 o'clock. What time are you proposing? We could stay with 6 and then,
Move our meeting after?
and then our meeting will be, we'll have a short recess or whatever, and our meeting.
After the budget meeting?
After the budget hearing, I guess. That's just my proposal.
And that falls within those dates,
It would
right?
be, yes. The posting in the Houston County News will be on the 4th, so that is 7 days actually later.
And that's for a hearing for our proposed budget.
That's 6 p.m. on the August 11th.
Okay. You making a motion or?
I'll make that motion. That we have our budget, is it a hearing or a meeting?
It's a public hearing.
Wait,
It's a public hearing.
Mr.
You don't
President.
take action at it, but just a
Yeah.
public.
So will that be here or will it be at the courthouse? The hearing.
Well, it's up to y'all where y'all wanna have it. I mean, you might, if you're gonna have a lot of folks there, you might consider having it somewhere else, or at least maybe, I don't know, in the bay here.
I've been through quite a few public budget deals, and you're lucky to get one person to show up. And that's on a $63 million budget on the school board, so, I mean, we can have it wherever.
I think we're fine with having it here.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we have our budget hearing at 6 p.m. on August the 11th.
And that's budget and proposed tax rate?
Budget and proposed tax rate hearing on August the 11th at this location.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to have our budget hearing, public budget hearing, and also our proposed hearing for our tax rate on August the 11th at 6 p.m. right here at the fire station. Motion is made by Mr. Bippert, seconded by Mr. Yates. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion passed. We will have our public budget hearing and our proposed tax rate hearing at 6 p.m. on August the 11th. Now, what's the other date you need to set? We need to have
That's it.
another one, right?
No, that's it.
Just have to have
That
one.
public. Theoretically, if you wanted to, you could vote on it after the meeting, when you go into your regular meeting. But you're in no hurry. We don't have to have it done
Right.
until September 30th, so let's sit and
Okay.
wait for a little bit more. There's a resolution though that y'all do need to execute that writes that on it. Just write in August 11th, right there. I was already ahead of it. I put 6 p.m. on August.
Where you at? Yeah, 6 p.m. This is today's date, correct?
Today's date. You and that Mr. Jacobs are there.
What's the date?
As old business, sir, I do want to point out that we need to finalize that resolution there as well.
Okay.
Mr. Yates and Mr. Jackson need to sign that, and Mr. Jacobs and yourself need to sign that.
Can we do that next then?
Yeah, you can just do it all. It's kind of old business.
Those are just signature needed.
Yeah, business is done.
That's the resolution. That's what for the tax rate, the other resolution. So,
What was this one for?
11, this is the tax rate one.
Oh, the tax rate, okay, I'm sorry.
But y'all haven't talked about the tax rate, getting set the proposed rate. That's still a discussion item on item A. And also accept the proposed budget. All you did right now was set the date. for the
Correct.
hearing. We're only halfway done
With A.
with that.
Now, we can still discuss the budget tonight, right?
Right now, yeah, you still need to. You need
Yeah.
to discuss your budget.
Let's do, all right, we got those hearings done. Let's talk about the budget again. We need to add a line item in there for our expenses, because being this is for pretty much 2021. Our expenses that we've already incurred now in 2020, which we don't really know exactly what those are yet. We're gonna have to have some kind of line item in there to pay those out of next year's money.
Our legal fees that have not been added from 1/1/2020 to present has been $9,403.
Where did you
From
add
his
that
letter.
somewhere? Right,
That's separate. We put in 10,000 for next year.
but we need some for this year.
You're gonna need some for this year for that. You're gonna need some for the surveyors that we're having to pay. For the real estate transaction.
Also, from the fire department, did y'all get what remember I was talking about it, what the payoff or the amount of the loan on the Cascade system for the compressor?
Well, every 1 October, we owe 5,000,
Okay.
it's a payment of 5,278.33 on that. Every 1 October for the next 3 years.
Now, I know when I spoke with Andy at the bank and I discussed that with him, he said, well, if y'all merge with one, that loan automatically goes to the ESD. Now, the only thing, there's still the Floresville Volunteer Fire Department though. They're still gonna be their separate own entity. So I don't know how that would work. You know, we just wanna keep that loan rolling and put it into our name?
How much what's the balance on it, sir?
15 grand, you said? About 15 grand? Yeah,
15,000.
5278, 3 years.
Be close to 16,000.
5 for 3 years. 5278 is what you said.
Now, come 1 October, there's not gonna be no
Okay.
tax money available, right? So
They're have
it's
that
gonna
in place.
automatically come out of our
The
account.
fire department's gonna have to.
We'll have it set up like that.
Okay.
SCBA compressor.
Yeah.
Yep, I have
It
it
should
now.
be 24,000.
24.
$15,834.99 is, what's left. We have 3 payments that are left at $5,278.33.
33 cents, yeah.
Okay, last meeting it was 24,000. Joe gave me. So we owe what now?
15.
16,500. What was
That's what you sent me.
How much?
Right.
How
She's
much
got
was
it
the
on the
total?
phone.
$15,834.99.
Okay.
All payments are due on 1 October. There's 3 payments left.
Okay, it was figured into the budget for the upcoming year was 24,000, which was a payoff.
So
We
we
did
already
not
did
do,
that.
we did not do payments.
So we
what
did
do
add
you
that
wanna
in
do?
there. Well, obviously that can be reduced.
So, or we could pay it off. We pay it off.
So it's up to.
That's what y'all talked about doing, was paying it off.
The only thing is, in order to pay it off, we'd have to borrow the whole amount instead of just that payment.
Well, once we get our
Oh, we
funds,
would.
then pay it off.
I understand that.
How much funds what was the proposed collections, Jeff? Or Tom?
All right, I have a certified from the tax deal now.
What was that figure?
Now,
Bottom one,
that's what I was thinking.
the very bottom one on the certified amount.
Should be,
0.41413
that ain't right.
907.
Yeah, we need to cut it back. Yeah.
It's gonna be 1
$13.91.
Okay.
That's the billion, we don't get the
We
billion.
don't get the billion. That's what I was
Take
like,
10 cents.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
it's gonna be a million.
Boy, that's a,
Is it
41,000.
813?
that's a,
You got too big in there.
billion.
Right.
No, it's not,
But you gotta
make
make
it
it
it's
10 cents of it.
90.7.
What's the amount you gonna get?
You gotta divide it by 100 and then 10 cents around.
Should be $1,041,413.91.
190.
That's at 100% collection.
Yeah.
Huh?
Now, there was still some, it's still under protest.
Yeah, if you took the
That's the
process out.
proposed, I mean, that's the estimated. I mean, that'll fluctuate a little bit.
That would bring it up to 88, 85, to 58. This is what's certified.
Certified, yeah.
It's guaranteeing that.
So you gotta take the 44.9, 44 whatever it is out of that. 49.
Should be the bottom number.
Under 44 million.
That's their fee.
Either that or we're upside down already.
That's their fee.
Now there's a protest.
Yeah, those are protest, properties are still in protest.
Yeah.
Almost 45,000.
So the only number we can work on right now is this, the best number we have.
And that's 1,041,000?
Yes.
Okay. 413. 413.
What was the number we were working with before, you remember?
It was 892.
Yeah, we had 892.
Well, we'll see, so we're,
But that's at 100% collection, guys.
Right.
so what, should we use like 95%?
And we can
96%?
use that, but just Chief, what do you guys use?
95.
So stay at the 892 and then
The money in the bank.
it goes into the emergency fund.
So stay right where we're at.
Yeah.
'Cause we were.
I mean, we can vary, we can go up or down from that, but as long as that's our basis, we're in good shape.
95% of that is 988,000.
Here you go.
Yeah, and right now we were at,
892.
Good, because I got some money I want to spend.
we're almost 137, maybe 91.
998.
There's 100,000.
Right ahead.
Jeff, do you even know that the insurance went up?
The vehicle insurance?
Yeah, vehicle insurance went up $1,000. We're paying $10,555.
A year?
Yes,
That's for everything?
yes.
So we had, on line 10400, we had 1,200, or 12,000.
We're still good there then. We're over there.
But that does not include workers' comp, correct?
Right.
That's what it,
I thought it did,
that's what
No,
it
that's
included
separate.
workers' comp, so now you gotta add 1,000 to that.
but we have workers' comp here
We have
somewhere.
workers' comp separate.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where in the hell did it go?
2,300 something. is what it's at.
We have workers' comp under line. Well, I've seen it on here, I don't know what to do.
No, we separated it.
Oh, it is. It's under 2,000 personnel, 2120 workers' comp insurance, $15,000. So, what's the difference in that 15,000 under that workers' comp line and what the insurance they were paying before? Where did we come up with the 15 grand on workers' comp? Because y'all did that at the meeting I wasn't at, so.
I think that's the carryover from the sheet that Mr. Caldwell utilized to start building this budget. Is this what, rolling 2,300 a year?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess my point is, we're not gonna be spending $15,000 on workers' comp insurance for 3 employees.
how many, and that's counting for how many personnel?
All of our volunteers.
So you,
Yeah.
all 30,
35,
35 of them? It may change because we're going to a full-time status. Will that, set it at 5 and, you know?
I don't know, I think it would be covered under 10-400, but,
Talking about the workman's comp?
yeah.
Yeah, the 10-400 was for vehicle insurance.
But originally, the 10-400 included the workers' comp. That line included the workers' comp.
What is y'all's 10-400 now, y'all's insurance?
As far as,
What's the cost of it right now?
it's 10,555.
And that's with workman's comp?
No. That's
How much
just
is the workman's comp?
2,300.
So they were up to that little over 12,000.
12,000. So we've got a whole nother line of $15,000 in here
For the workman's comp.
yeah.
So we're definitely to the good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, by far.
Okay,
I wish my bank account was like that.
we're to the good. So,
What line did you show workman's comp?
2120.
it's under salaries and benefits. 2,000 personnel.
Just write down a couple of lines from insurance. Under the 20,000 there.
Workman's comp, 15,000, so we're covered with that.
Yeah.
So, is it kind of consensus that we could reduce that to $5,000 instead of $15,000? Or cut it in half, go to 7,500?
So you're saying it's in the 10-400 though, so we'd still be over.
You're still over on?
No, just leave 10,400 alone.
Okay.
And under workman's comp deal,
Cut that in
reduce
half.
that from 15 to 8,000 or 7,500. Until we can figure out
Y'all wanna do that?
I'm good with that.
Sounds like a good idea.
7,500?
All right, for workman's comp,
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 2120.
going back to that other insurance, what's the description of it that y'all want on there?
Automotive.
No, 10-400.
Oh, that's trucks and
Vehicles.
building and that's, I guess that'd be liability and the building
Non-auto?
insurance.
No, it is auto.
Auto,
Auto, building.
what else you want to call it? Anything else? Auto and building?
It's workers' comp also.
For them.
We got workers, okay, we got workers' comp down here for 7,500.
But the volunteers are rolled into that top figure, the 10,400 currently.
Okay,
Currently, so we could pull it out and move it
Could
down.
make it a completely separate line if we want.
Yeah, pull it, I mean, but it's still, the number's still,
I just need a description
Yeah.
for insurance.
so I would leave the top one like you just had it.
Auto building.
Auto building / general or whatever on that one.
I'm sure there's some kind of liability in there, right?
Well, that's probably majority what they have. Is liability. We do live in the state of Texas.
Gotta get it.
All right, you're leaving at 12,000.
Yes, sir.
And then you're going down, you're gonna reduce the, down here, the workers' comp. At 7,500.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are at $884,565. Now, going back to this SCBA compressor, we're gonna pay it off.
Are you going to?
We ain't got to the line yet, let's go down the line.
Okay. Alright, so that's, uniforms, we good there then? Yeah, that was just station stuff, not good here.
Yeah, we're just working uniforms.
Medical exams, I know we kinda beat that to death last time, so we should be good there, right? That should be way over, I would think, huh?
You think the 1,000 will be enough for medical exam?
I have no idea.
I don't.
I have no earthly idea.
In fact, we had a question on the cost.
Yeah,
on
our
the exams.
just our blood, just our labs in San Antonio are in excess of $600 a piece.
Who would, these exams, who would have to be taking these exams or whatnot?
That's a good question, because are we TCFP or are we State Fire Marshal, SFMA? Well, I think
I
we've
think
already
the way
discussed that since we're being paid now, we gotta
Partially
go with
paid.
TCFP. The ones that are drivers have to go to TCFP.
The ones that,
No? Maggie? That's not true?
Well, for the paid drivers,
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
would be
Paid
TCFP.
is TCFP, volunteers, even if they're volunteer drivers, it's SSFMA.
Right.
So, I mean, you wanna double that, you wanna triple that?
I think we gotta triple it, because we're gonna have to have randoms for the insurance.
Yep.
If there's an incident, they're gonna have to go for a urine test.
So,
Make it
what's
3,000.
that, couple $100 each test?
oh yeah.
Every bit of that, yeah.
I don't know, I have no idea.
I haven't taken one in a while.
Under 100.
How much?
Under 100.
Under 100 for urine test?
Is that the 5 panel? I mean, is it the?
Send out.
Yeah, okay.
Less than that.
For the 5 count? You had a lot of practice with that, sir?
No, we get ran over all the time.
I used to be
Okay.
the guy that always passed.
So you wanna go to 2 grand?
3.
3.
3,000?
3 on that one.
Don't tell him.
Okay.
I'll give him zeros every
So make it 3,000. All right. So we discussed on the training side of it, we discussed what we call on line 2311. It's other training expenses 5,000, and then the fire rescue training other was 20 grand. Maggie, I know y'all were taking courses. Is that part of the 20 grand or is that part of the 5 grand?
That's part of the,
Well, what I'm getting at is we've got 2 different lines.
Well,
So if we're doing SFMA, that's one line. If we're doing TCFP, that ought to be another line.
was that training, the other training expenses, was that the ESD if we go to, for the ESD board? To go to that safety deal?
No,
Safety?
that wasn't that much, that was only,
Safety was 1,100 dues.
like 2,100 or something, yeah.
And that, there's a line
Oh, we
for
have it
that.
right here, 1,100, okay.
Yeah, we have a line for
I
that.
remember talking about it, I couldn't. Yeah,
SSMA is 2,100.
Yeah, then you had the 1,100 of 20406 for USD stuff.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm all about training. I just want to make sure we get the right
Well, no, that was-
right
that's what
thing in the
we
right
used
line
subscriptions.
so that it's taken
That's what's
care
gonna
of.
cost us to get a member.
Okay, other training expenses,
So we're
5,000,
talking
fire
about
rescue
hotel
training and
rooms.
others, 20,000.
4 or 5 nights.
I'm just trying to figure out where that 20 grand came from.
Well, we moved it over here.
I think it came from when y'all were talking CFP.
I'm thinking that's
Some
what
are
it
still
was.
gonna do SFFMA and some are gonna do TCFP.
Right. So and the TCFP stuff would be obviously going to Teeks and Teeks doing any classes down here. Okay. Good.
Well, I think our next goal was try and get a lot of that training into grant money for the SFMA stuff through like Forest Service or something.
That's a goal, but we've still got a budget,
We still got
Right,
a
right.
budget of value for that.
Right.
If we get all that, and we get to put that in fund balance, great, but we still gotta put a value on that. So,
So y'all thinking on training that's possibly not enough?
No, I think the cost is accurate.
Okay.
I just would like to know, so we've got an estimate of 20 grand on this other fire rescue training. Where did that number come from?
I think that was, another one of the carryovers.
Well, did you have it on that other deal, Tom? That other budget?
I don't, like I said, I don't have.
Chris, what do y'all spend?
If it's hard printed, it came off
We were budgeting about $10,000, and that was medical, fire training. You gotta remember, Forest Service is an automatic
Yep.
$12,000.
Yep. And
All you
we
gotta
don't-
do is apply for it.
Right.
So there's 12 grand on top of anything you budget, so. And most of your classes are $325 here, $325 there. And Academy's 2,000. So when we were training a lot of firefighters in actual academy, we were spending about 10 grand plus the 12. So about 22,000. And you don't get denied the 12,000. I mean, it's literally.
No, it's automatic. You just got to apply.
One page and you get your reimbursement. Right now, we're down to about 6 grand a year. Is all.
But start up,
I think
20
we're good.
grand, you got plenty of money. You'll have money left over.
to start with.
Yeah, no, that's just up here and use it.
Because that's really 32,000.
Yeah, because you're gonna get the grant.
You're gonna get the grant.
That and use a subscription.
A lot of these people already know about restrictions.
Not as many as you think. I think we got 2 or 3 that are
Right.
completely
Not sure when they
certified.
pay us, though.
Volunteers.
You're making an assumption
What,
that's
what,
not there.
two or three people that would be able to do a paid position. Literally.
So that's where we base that number off.
So that's the
That
decision.
was a whole other thing that's coming up here, this 251.
Right, that was
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll just have to,
We'll have to work this out.
yeah. So anyway, I think
Other
that,
training expense, a better definition, is it just gonna be a catch-all for 5 grand?
I would think so, because there's gonna be,
Hey,
there'll be
okay.
junkets of things they can bring people in and train.
When I went back on the other sheet that we worked on, that 5,000 for other training expenses, that was for the safety convention. We allowed 5,000.
So the 1,100 is membership?
That's membership to join safety.
Okay,
Am I correct, Tom? I think you told us.
Right around $1,100 a year.
there you go.
Yeah,
That's
next
right.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Then I think we're gonna be good.
Okay.
So other training expense, you said
That was for
what?
the safety. That's for ESD board training. ESD member training. You good there? You got that?
July
What's that?
30th.
You good there?
Which one?
On those two? It's just stayed the same. Are we good on training then?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Going to dues and subscriptions, we had the SFMA, we figured about 2,100, and safety about 1,100.
Only gonna help it.
I guess those numbers would be pretty accurate. I mean, those are gonna change up and down, how many members you got, in the SFMA stuff.
Right.
Rehab, bottled water, $1,000.
Okay.
I think we're good there.
Yeah.
Firefighting, this class A, B foam. We had 6,000. I know I had a little star by it, so I don't know if.
I got to start by it too, because I'm trying to figure out why we're spending $6,000.
Well, I know we
on
talked
maybe
back and forth, is that too much, do we need it, or?
I think it's way too much. How many times have y'all used foam in the last year?
We don't use foam.
Thank you.
What is it that we use for?
Water?
Like for fire quench?
Class A.
Wet water?
Yeah.
250 a drum.
Yeah.
So you go through 3 or 4 drums at the most, probably?
3 years picking up?
No, it's been that long.
Depends on how busy it is.
Let's cut that to 2,000?
Yes.
That
That's
should be
six.
more than enough, right?
Yes.
I would say 2,000 is, I mean,
So we're dropping that to $2 grand,
Yep.
2,000?
And
Get rid of the little star.
here, is it 3 drums? I'll pick up 4 drums.
Yeah, but how long has it been sitting out there? Yeah, but how long have they been sitting out there? It's in the sun, it degrades.
Well, for when we use it, it still works.
Yeah, no, I see Maggie fills up her truck
Well, not, you know it works.
No.
You know it works.
So a bubble party?
and, oh, yeah.
Alright, going to bunker gear, the cleaning and repair.
So my question on the cleaning and repair, who is currently doing y'all's cleaning and repair? Okay,
What does it cost to clean a set of gear?
yes.
What is it?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Chief, what do you guys figure over one?
So we have our own extractor, but you can figure about $125 a set. When you go paid guys, you're gonna have to clean their gear now twice a year, minimum, and after every structure fire.
Yes.
So, and I'll tell you, repairs get costly too. So we budget about $5,000.
Okay. So would you be willing to contract to clean our gear?
We'll clean it for free. We already do it for a couple
Don't
of
say
people.
for free.
Well,
Yeah.
so, well, honestly, we can't. If we charge for it, then we have to be certified,
Yeah.
GCS and all
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But we do have our own 1851 inspectors. They are certified by it. But we bring in a lot of red tape if we pay for it. So as long as y'all bring us the Citrus Squeeze soap,
Yep.
and you bring us the gear, we'll help you wash it. So
so we should be good at that $5,000.
Yes.
Yes.
How much for the brand new machine?
oh man, I think an extractor is about $15,000.
Yep. And you gotta send people to training on them.
Yeah. It's not only to wash, but to inspect, put that
Yeah.
together.
Alright, let's move on to the hazmat disposable supplies. I know we talked about this. What exactly we talking about there was $1,000.
Gloves, masks,
I would say we're good there,
stuff on the truck.
in my opinion.
Yep.
Apparatus repair, we had 24,000. I know we based that off of what the fire department is currently doing, what their numbers were, and I think we bumped it up some,
Yeah, we did.
if I'm not mistaken.
I would
So-
say leave that just in case.
I was gonna say fire department folks, do y'all think that number's safe where y'all are at?
We turned in 30. I think
Do what?
we turned in 30,000.
For apparatus?
The city for
But
maintenance.
that was all the engine,
That's when you got all the valve work done.
yeah, all that
Yep,
stuff.
sure,
And
get all that work done on it.
that 3,000 gallon tanker.
Well, let me ask you, so if we're gonna have some paint guys, you're gonna have to, these trucks are gonna have to be brought up to par, right?
Well, regardless, they're gonna have to go out of the park.
So is that gonna come out of this apparatus repair?
Yeah.
Well,
So do y'all think we have enough there?
no, when I say up to par, we're gonna have to work on purchasing some stuff that'll be in par,
Bring it up.
not repair.
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
replacing?
Yeah, that's a different,
Yeah.
that's a different
Okay.
line.
Different
Yeah.
category.
Alright. Here we get to the station. On the building itself, we had supplies of $4,000. The maintenance and repair, we had figured 10,000. I mean, my deal is what exactly we're looking at doing to figure out what kind of money we're gonna be needing there.
I mean, we can kick what we're gonna do around, but, I mean, that's a starting point.
Yeah.
You know, if we identify something down the road that we, are gonna need or transition into, I mean, we'll have a little bit in fund balance if we need to make an amendment for that,
Okay.
and then, you know, we can adjust accordingly,
Okay, so we'll leave it there then.
I think.
Everybody's good with that?
Well, I wanna talk about, since we're under station, we had talked earlier about putting temporary quarters in, and I think we need to go back and visit that.
Okay.
That $70,000 was turnkey, 69.
That's not counting what it would cost to do the dirt work and running electrical,
Electrical.
water.
Plumbing and all that.
That, the 69,000 was for the skid delivered, or, well, plus delivery to here.
Because right now we have no facility here to house anybody. And if we're talking about putting people here 24 hours,
Well, so the discussion when you weren't here, if we do go to a paid, it's gonna be an 8 to 5 type paid, not a 24-hour pay.
So where are you gonna put them?
Well, they're 8 to 5, they're gonna, we talked about some type of a day room, living room, converting some stuff back here into that, but it won't be a 24-hour facility this first year. Now, if we continue down that path and we go to the 24, then obviously that's something that we're gonna, we would have to, obviously have to do. But,
Yeah.
but since we're
On the first year?
we're trying to do it, you know, if we get to the partial paid volunteer deal, then we don't need 24-hour paid people. So
Well,
the first year,
I see it both ways.
right. But we're definitely not the
But
first
I'm
year.
wondering, you know, it's been brought up to me about, well, if you did have somewhere, would your volunteers volunteer to stay here overnight?
I don't know if I'd want them here overnight.
Why not?
Why?
Why not? You got coverage at that
I
point.
understand that, but you run into a lot of issues with people staying overnight and different stuff.
You need to get through this first year. You got $95,000 worth of equipment here you're getting ready to buy that won't be bought next year.
Right.
And, you know, after the meeting last week, we even discussed going to stipends and not hiring 2 firemen, just the fire chief, or even that. And so let's kind of get through this first year.
So let me ask, okay, we're gonna talk about the fire chief when we get there, but I don't understand why you'd hire a fire chief if you ain't got nobody for him to be in charge of.
Well, you'll have somebody that run the station, keep up with all the paperwork, plus just, if they go to hiring people using stipends, which I think we discussed this last week,
We don't know what the paid people will look like right now. I don't know.
and then you would have, he said, I was assured by these two that you can pull people in from about anywhere if you pay them stipends and run things. Now, of course, you're gonna have somebody to oversee this training thing that they were talking about. If you bring in volunteers, you're still gonna use volunteers, aren't we? To a certain
Absolutely.
extent?
We got
Okay,
to.
now they gotta go through training, and they're gonna, and I was told about this book, you know, that they would fix up and go through all these steps of training. All right, someone's gotta put all this together and run this, and to certify that these new volunteers can start getting their stipends. That's been one of the hangups I was informed about. If we use stipends, you would get more people in here to volunteer. Now, that's what I was assured of last week. And like I said, sooner or later it's gonna be paid, Wally. I mean, sooner or later. But we're trying to establish something here. We're already at the max right now. You're at 882, and you're gonna get 998. Well, that don't give you much wiggle room for an occurrence. If something happens to a truck, you know, one of these trucks, I was told you can rent a second-hand one, 550 grand. You know, so, so
That's a totally different truck.
so anyway, one of these trucks here, you know, so I say, you know, we kick that around, and sooner or later it's gonna happen. You
Well,
know that, and I know that.
Very good. I'm glad you kicked it around, but we need to discuss it a little bit more.
So, we,
So back to the 10,000. So the 10,000 can be 10,000, it could be 100,000, depending on what our paid people look like, if we get to that point. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay, so at least the first year transition, my way of thinking is, if we do have paid people, 2 paid people, or whatever, they're gonna be daytime people. We don't necessarily need an overnight facility. I'm not saying we don't need a shower and stuff. We don't need overnight facilities.
I disagree.
The first year.
I disagree. I think it needs to be set up so that in the future, as we advance, it's already there. And it'll be money that's not spent the next year. All that money doesn't have to be spent at one time.
Well, no, I get that.
I mean, we're talking about budget. If we put $70,000 in or $75,000 in for overnight facilities for that skid, that money doesn't have to be paid necessarily next year. We could do that over a 5-year period.
Plus it gives everybody a place to go and get away from the engine.
Exactly.
So you're saying you finance it then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would finance it. I would.
wouldn't pay
I'm not
cash
going to give them
for it, no.
$75,000 up front. I mean, where's your warranty after that? But so, if we're going to have the guys 5 days a week, and then have volunteers come in and man the station on stipend or not on stipend, if they have a facility to stay at, We'll have better quality people here. Now, we've been down this road. We know things can get out of hand, okay? That needs to be managed, and people need to be held accountable.
Well, that's where Chief's gotta step up and make sure that it's taken care of, right?
Well,
We don't want a party house down here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's gonna help
So-
your recruiting and your retention too.
Then what do we got a break room for? What are we gonna convert this for if we're gonna put a skid out there?
Well, we're gonna have to do that
Again,
regardless.
this is gonna have to be redone to begin with. I mean, you can't even have training in here hardly.
As far as the kitchen and day room type stuff, that's gotta be done.
Yep.
If, I mean, even if we don't have any paid people, I think that needs to be done.
Well, looking at what we have right here.
I understand that,
but even redoing it all, I mean, this is a meeting room and I think there's gonna have to be some kind of a private office.
The
for
chief needs
or,
an
you know,
office.
And for
Sure.
ESD information can all go there too, you know,
Sure.
that not everybody has access to 24 hours a day, you know.
Right.
I don't know how we're gonna remodel to do that.
So, again, this is the first year, we're gonna all be in transition on this deal. I agree, we're gonna have to make some improvements to what we have. And we can put a dollar figure in there, I agree with what Mr. Yates is saying, is if we put 100,000 in there, we don't have to spend it. I mean, that could be an ongoing discussion on how we grow, on what we need to do. Or we gotta do this before we can grow, or before we can come up. You know, we can't hire somebody and expect them to be here for 24 hours about, we gotta do one before the other. We just can't do that. So we can put a dollar figure in there. That's gonna continue, we're just gonna have to continue having discussions about that.
Where are we at?
So where do you wanna
the
add a
budget?
dollar figure? Do you wanna
10 grand.
put that 70 back in there? I know we had it in there at one time.
Where are we at on budget if we put the 70 back in there?
You're at 882, add 70 to that, so that puts you-
950.
952.
Let's not worry about that. If we think we need, you wanna put 70 in there, and that's something that let's put it in, let's figure out where we're at when we get through the whole budget.
All right, well, let's add back in there for quarters.
We had it down for
Well,
housing
not-
at Central Station before.
So wait a
I
minute.
don't know if they took it
We
out.
wouldn't be spending 70 to begin with, the first year.
No, I understand.
We would finance it.
Sure, I get all that.
So let's just say we put 20 in there, right? And that's gonna be carried over the
I
next
think
5
we'll leave
years.
20 up just fixing this thing
Well,
up.
I think that
we're gonna-
10,000.
I think we'll leave 20 up
I
just
agree with you.
redoing this, in all honesty.
I do too.
So I'm comfortable with the 70.
Okay. Well, let's do the 70.
Because we don't have to spend the 70.
Yeah.
And if we drag 50 of that out over.
So if we put 70 here for the maintenance and repair,
Right.
can that be an item that includes
Well-
if we did a skid deal?
No,
Yes.
quarters,
Yes.
I think you said quarters were 70,
It was 90,
Well,
and then maintenance and repair was 10.
So I say let's keep those together.
Yeah.
What about
So make it 80?
No,
Oh,
just
so we're about-
70.
70?
Yeah.
Is that
Okay, let's
actually-
do that.
I would not like to,
Okay, then. the
I don't want to
equipment
break
is
out
reversed.
70 just for quarters,
No,
because then we got an issue.
Then we're locked in.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Our money,
a
not
whole
the cities.
nother.
That's a whole nother ballgame.
I'd rather not mess with that this year.
The equipment that's in there though is ours, belongs to Floresville Fire.
Yeah, for the fires.
So I have a little bone for that, little lady.
It's actually precinct 1, right?
The precinct 1 is the Floresville Fire.
I don't know how that.
That should be, that's a capital improvement, that should be broke out.
Right.
If you buy a skid steer, the skid quarters back there. It's not maintenance and repair.
Okay. So
So
just drop down below
So,
it.
so if you want to, I understand where Larry's going now.
Yeah.
If you want
So
to
do you
do
wanna
maintenance
pop
or
that up to
repair at
20?
10, no, or 10 or 20, and do a capital, or whatever you want to call that other deal,
50.
at 50.
Let's do that.
Maintenance repairs, how much?
20?
20?
That'd be for fixing up this right here.
Yep.
And
And
the
then-
others, 50?
And then mark another 50 for
building.
Additional quarters or
We
something.
originally had it at 90,000 uncategorized expenses for Central Station.
And that was,
That was the housing.
that was to pay everything off at one time too.
Right, we cut that down to 50.
Yeah, cut it down to 50. Yeah, I think we're good.
So quarters, where we come in at
What,
50.
Chris, just out of curiosity, what do y'all have over there?
As far as quarters,
Yeah.
we have full-blown living, bunk
In the
room, day
station?
room, kitchen, yes, sir.
And
At both stations?
Yes, sir. But we also have paid staff now. But we had that prior to the paid staff, and that's, our stipend was based on you coming in and pulling shifts as if you were a paid firefighter.
and how was the response to that from the volunteer side of it?
We've got about 10 on stipend. They pull 12-hour, usually overnight shifts. I know where you're going on what can happen overnight, but that comes from leadership.
But it's different too if you're getting paid or if you're volunteering. To me, that's a huge difference.
As in,
To me, it's not.
Well, no, it is. I mean,
so
if you're giving a volunteers a place to stay so they can have a quicker response versus coming from my house,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no.
and that's the reason we did the
Party
stipend,
aspect.
was it's all about the response time.
sure.
Yeah.
No, no.
And those are actual numbers that we'll be able to give the citizens
Right. Sure.
and show them what they're getting for their money.
Right. No, I get all of that. I do.
What's that? Yeah, just whatever adds it.
833.
We can go 33200 if we want to do. Whatever. Are we good on that then?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on to the communications. I think we've discussed that pretty heavily.
We're locked into that.
Yeah. Utilities, we should be all right there, I would think. Roughly $1,000 a month to cover gas, electric, phone, internet, some water, sewer. All right, equipment repair. We had a fire equipment repair of $9,000.
And that is a completely separate item from the trucks, right?
Yes.
Yes.
This would be all what, handheld object fans?
Fans,
hoses?
saws, nozzles, etc.
Okay.
And so what type of spreaders and cutters did y'all tell me y'all had? TNT? And hers. Are they interchangeable? You got the,
TNT is one, is combined, and then hers is separate, spreaders and jaws, cutters.
So we have $1,000 on the rescue equipment repair. Hazmat repair?
yeah, what is that?
Yeah. You know what hazmat repair was?
Replacing all the absorbents and stuff like that if we have to use them.
Alright.
That could be a kind of a floating number, because
I
But is
thought that was up here in the
covered
other.
in hazmat supplies.
So is it hazmat EMS supplies and then hazmat?
yeah, one's going to be like red bag items,
Gotcha.
EMS and your gloves, red
Gotcha.
bag items. The other one is for spills.
Alright. We good there?
Good.
What they charge me to fix the
So we were at, on capital improvements or capital, we had in here for $50,000 for a down payment on a new brush truck. I guess going to new equipment, here's about fire rescue tools, we had 5,000.
So
Purchase new stuff.
let's back
Well,
up to
mostly
the
hand tool
to the
stuff.
brush truck. Is that a TIFMAS? Not certified, but yeah, I guess it would be certified. What type of brush truck are we talking about?
The current one that I just received the price quote on was through Steel Fire Apparatus, and it's similar to the truck that District 1 currently has, and it's just a F550 it's built similar to like the Skeeters as well.
Okay.
It's just a lot guess the price is a little.
Webb's unit on the back and all that?
Yes.
Okay. What's the total cost on that apparatus?
$215.
$215? For a 550?
Yes.
That's not counting getting any,
That's just the
Any
truck. There's
grants
not
or
any
anything?
tools or anything like that on the truck.
maintain. That's not counting trying to get any grants for it or anything
Right.
else, that's just the price of it.
Right.
I think on that deal, that apparatus is, the sooner we can get that in motion.
Oh, I would agree. And start building up the fleet.
Better
I
we
mean,
start already.
What did you
Yes.
say the lead time was on that, Tim?
Right now with steel, I believe it's about a year. Right, Chief?
Yeah, because all the auto manufacturers shut down.
Yeah.
So we ordered a truck 2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
I got my truck 3 months ago, and they're just now getting the chassis that was ordered 2 weeks later. So they're like 4 months to get
So-
get a chassis.
are you just dead set on the steel, or is there other, have you looked at others?
I've looked at others as well.
Siddons and,
Looked at Siddons. The biggest thing I've seen with Siddons is they build a lot of their stuff out of aluminum.
yep,
It makes it lighter,
yep.
but your strength, you lose a lot of strength.
No, I agree. I'm
With
just,
steel, everything is built out of steel, and it's a better truck, in my opinion. But that's my personal opinion.
okay. And that would be four-wheel drive and,
It's four-wheel drive, I have
Inflatable tires.
the deflatable tires, it's got the oversized military tires. I mean, it's built exactly like a Skeeter, it's just,
It's showing the stuff.
and it's built in Texas as well.
and so can that also be used frontline for structure fire? No?
Pump's not big enough.
Okay.
The pump on that truck's only about 250 gallons a minute.
Okay.
Does it need to be 5? 3?
It's actually got it's got to be 1,000 to
Gallons.
Oh, no,
Minimum
no.
1,000
Five
gallons.
GPM.
GPM, is it gonna be 1,000?
Yeah, you can have 300 water, but it's got to be 1,000 GPM pump.
That's how they got away with the
pump.
Flints, having 300 gallons of Flints.
All right, we good there then? No?
I'm good with that.
Okay. The fire rescue tools of 5,000.
And that line would be to fill the apparatus with the tools and equipment that it needs. And honestly, I don't think 5,000 is enough. But I think we got other lines we can pull stuff out of too.
All right. The PPE, we have structural bunker gear of 40,000, which I think our deal was what, 10 sets? Is that correct?
10 cents, boots to helmet,
Yeah,
10
full deal.
cents.
The wildland firefighting clothing of 15,000, and different accessories for 3,000. Excuse me, for 3,000. There's what, 58,000.
Right. So on the wildland stuff, is that including wildland boots?
No, that was just tech gen, mask, goggles, drapes, gloves.
Cause I know my set of boots were $530, but I had it made.
Just the regular Hakes, universals, like he's wearing right there. I believe Chief Taylor's got a set.
Yep.
Those are like three and a quarter a set.
All right, ready to move on?
Good on that?
All right, training equipment. I think this was just extra money for trainings that come up, for supplies, whatever,
Props,
build, props. We put some money in there.
Okay, Larry, on this next line at 4,400 or 44,000. So that was the contingency was 148. Since we added the money back in, the 50 grand. What is our contingent going to turn into now?
No, added, that's it.
Well, let's-
Well, it was, we're up to
Yeah, we worked
942
through it.
expenditures.
We'll work back up.
Yeah, let's just leave it there. We can go back and adjust that later. That's just the savings there.
Okay.
All right, now here we go to the ESD expenses, accounting and audit. It's gonna be about 10 grand. Now, we are exempt from that for this year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
next year will be required.
Right, so that's in there.
when you say this year,
From January the first till September, whatever, October,
we're exempt for
2020.
21.
yes.
No,
No, 20.
20.
We're just created, there's nothing there
Nothing to
yet.
report.
But starting in October, we're,
That's
That's
right.
right.
okay,
Fiscal
okay.
year 21.
2021, all reporting requirements that affect an ESD are in place and in effect,
Okay.
starting January the 1st.
So the appraisal district fees, that's their charge, what they're gonna charge us, right?
Remember we talked, did I talk to you about the tax office also? The assessor collector also charges a fee
Yeah.
that's not in there?
Yeah, we have it
No,
down here.
we got
We had
$2,000
$2,000.
for tax
Okay.
assessor
Okay,
collector.
just making sure.
Yep. So you get down to the uncategorized expenses, the central station, I think this is where we were talking about
Good.
moving forward stuff.
Yeah.
The SCBA's, that was all, what, 10 air packs, 20 bottles, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
One writ?
Yeah, one rent.
One writ?
The tax assessor collector, we had $2,000. The compressor, we're at 24,000, but obviously that's less, right?
Yeah, the payoff would be 15,894, so.
15,834.99.
15,800.
So what we
Round
gonna
that,
do?
round that.
16.
Let's go to 16.
Do you wanna take 24 out and put 16?
Yes.
Yeah. Then we had tax refunds of $200. We do need to put in there a line item about our 2020 expenses.
So hold, let's, we do, but let's get through. So Larry, what are we at after you made that?
So we made these changes.
$934,565.
Okay, 934,
565.
934 what?
934,565. I'm gonna double check that, so let's just check something.
So then we're still under our budget then.
Yep.
No. And that's fine. All right, so let's, now,
934,565.
so we're gonna have to make up some money for this current year, what you were just alluding
Right.
to.
So you get the,
So the compressor, since we're talking about this SCBA compressor, we put that in the, so we can scratch that for this year. This, what we're currently in. Since that's gotta be done, the compressor, the BA compressor,
The payment in October?
the payment in October, so we can scratch it for this year.
Yeah. Cause the fire department's gonna pick that one up this year.
The 16.
Y'all are paying that one this year? So then,
Well, I think if it's October 1, we need to, we either need to pay it or reimburse it. We need to borrow the money to pay it.
Well, that's what I was getting
So-
to, borrow the money, instead of them paying it, let's borrow
But
enough. we
it's
can
still,
cover
it's
that.
still in the budget. It's still in the budget, but that's fine. So we're gonna end up with about 15,000 in legal fees. By the time the end of the year's over, we got 5,200, 5,300 in BA stuff
With the $9,400 in legal fees right now.
right now, but by the time we get to October, we're gonna be
So what
at
do you wanna
12.
do here?
I just wrote down 15, 12 to 15. I don't know what it's gonna be.
Well, by the time we get down to closing the property,
Right. That's why I said 15 grand.
I think it's gonna be more than that.
Well, that's for this year.
That's
So-
up till October 1.
Right,
Yeah, so we have to figure out what we're gonna have to do here.
We gotta put a number in there. We're at 95 now. I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna,
Right.
when it comes time, we're gonna
Ask
need
your
to
lawyer
borrow
over there.
some
And
money.
then we're gonna have to,
What's it gonna be till 10, or till 10/1?
I think around 15.
I think 15 is a good estimate. We do.
I mean, we still got a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross, to satisfy
We do.
satisfy the state and,
What's it gonna cost to transfer titles?
yeah, and all of that. But anyway, so that's all gonna go into 15 grand. Our compressor, I think, I mean, that's 53. So I guess what I'm saying, is at some point, we're gonna have to borrow some money
Right.
prior
That's why
to
we're
October
getting
1.
this- That's why I was getting that set up.
Right, so I'm just trying to figure
Okay, you got lawyer fees, Ron, and then you keep talking about the compressor. What are you gonna do on the compressor for this year?
This year we ain't doing nothing, cause
So
it's
it's
due,
taken care of.
nope, it's due October 1.
Which
Okay,
throws
that's
it into
fine.
next year's
So it
budget.
throws it in the, but we're
Alright,
still gonna
so-
have to borrow money for it, cause we ain't gonna have no collections October 1. The payment's gotta be made.
Okay, we're gonna do it.
I think we should.
I think we
Okay, well,
should.
no problem. I'm just trying
Either
to
we
figure out.
reimburse or we.
Well, I don't know if we can legally reimburse.
Mr. Caldwell? Can we reimburse the VFD if they make the payment?
If
on
we're gonna borrow money
SCBA?
anyway, I would rather clean it up, borrow the money,
Pay it off.
pay it
The
October
one
1.
payment or the whole price?
No, just the October. Next October,
We'll have.
in 21, we can pay it off.
Yeah, we'll have
But
the
let-
money for
That's,
that.
I think that's the more effective way
I
to do
agree.
it. When the
So to
50 makes the payment.
clean things up, so we're not reimbursing and jumping through, stepping in any landmines on that deal.
I don't think you'll need to refinance them. I think you just pay it off.
No, I agree.
Pay it off through them.
Yeah, I agree.
I heard that discussed earlier too.
So the only thing from 1/1/2020 to 10/1/2020 is legal fees that I got in there.
And we're gonna have to borrow money for this.
Well, that's gonna be after.
It's October, we ain't gonna have no income
Okay,
by
well,
October.
but that falls in, be the next year's budget. though.
I
But we
understand.
do that this year. But I'm talking about the budget for this year. Now,
Okay.
you go out here and borrow this money to pay it off, which is fine. I'm just trying to put it in the right column.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to show it somewhere, because it's gonna, we're using it as a collateral, the tax money as a collateral.
So if you just, like, his fee is 15 grand, but 10/1, you're gonna pay it off, well, that's for next fiscal
It
budget.
starts another year.
So that stays for 2021 budget. So we'll just leave that like it is. The only thing then for this year, budget-wise, is legal fees that I can see.
Legal fees and any training or certification that we're gonna go to.
Well, I
Well,
ain't
the
sure.
safety's already happened, so.
Yeah, that's not.
The-
It'll be after October for safety.
And that's in there for next year, right?
Yes, I agree, but I don't know if there's anything gonna come up prior to.
Well, you got those online.
Online stuff.
$25, $35 or something like that.
All right,
That,
so
you know.
So,
got four,
I-
how many you got?
we're-
I don't know, there's a couple.
so I'm gonna say 18 or 20,000 to answer your question, Larry. I mean,
Well, then we're gonna need to pay for the survey, the closing.
Well, that was supposed to be in this 15 grand, I thought.
no, not the survey.
No, not the survey, the
Okay,
closing costs.
then I need to add it in here
So-
somewhere.
I think we're gonna get to about 22 grand prior to October 1.
So legal fees is gonna be 22 grand?
No, say legal fee's gonna be 15, but the things that it's gonna take to
Yeah, no,
close.
but that's considered legal. When you start doing transfers and that's legal. All right, you wanna name it something else?
Well, that's fine. I mean, I
I'm
don't
just
care
trying to
if
get it in here.
You
Title and transfer.
title, appraisal, any of that goes with it. I think we're gonna spend it in the neighborhood of 22 to 20.
I would say, and what I talked about with Frost, and I haven't got to go down there and talk with them, was an operating budget of $25,000 loan for an operating budget to get us going into October 1st. Will get us through the first of the year. We're gonna have money coming in on January 1. Is
I know
that
they
the-
talk about actually something in
November.
late November and December, is that
November,
correct?
okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that does show up, they say?
Oh, you should get a 60% of your income in November.
Really? That much?
Yeah, you get-
Everybody wants that 3%.
yeah, it dwindles from there.
Yeah.
So by January, you'll have 75 to 80% of your income.
Okay. That's good.
So,
Going back to what do you wanna call this? Survey, legal fees, what?
I'd say
Well,
2020
2020 expenses.
operating budget.
Operating
2020.
expenses, because you've incurred them already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2020
expenses.
expenses, operating expenses, yeah.
And the amount?
25,000. Well, no, that would be the loan. It's gonna be somewhere around 22,000. We don't know what the transfer and everything's gonna cost us.
I'm gonna say 22K.
Well, then do we need to pull,
So,
you need to add that other extra 5,000 for the payment for the compressor,
no, it's in the
That's in the
budget.
22.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
but we're gonna need that money now.
We're,
That's 2020. We're talking about 2020, what you're doing. Okay, I'm up to 37,000 for 2020.
37.
What's 37,000?
You got legal fees for 15,000 and there's 22,000 you just talked
Oh,
about?
I think he's talking total.
We're talking total.
I'm talking
That
total.
includes the 15.
I'm talking total.
22
Yeah.
total.
Yeah, another 7. Make it another 10, 25,000, whatever.
Yeah,
What do you want?
numbers.
What do you want?
I say 25.
Yep.
And that's just 2020.
I think that's more than gonna cover any fees, expenses,
Yeah.
legal. It's gonna cover the closing on this. And remember, y'all are also splitting that. You're only paying half of that. School's paying the other half. I think that's probably a very conservative estimate. Probably won't spend that much.
Yeah, where you at?
Okay, this is legal fees right here. I'll put it out beside here. This is for him next year, okay? And this is 1/1/2020 to current, 25,000. Stuck it out here in a separate column.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that really can't really be in next year's budget.
Just this year's.
It's
But we gotta
expenses
pay
y'all
it.
are incurring when you have no money to pay them.
Yeah.
So basically, it's gonna be broken, Larry, it's gonna be legal, title transfer survey, and the payment on the compressor. So, would that be right?
Yeah.
What do y'all wanna call it again?
I wouldn't define it.
No.
I would call it 2020.
I'll just call it our expenses.
Yeah,
I got it
2020
under,
expenses,
I
yeah.
got it under legal fees.
It would be called carryover expenses. 2020 carryover expenses. To be budgeted into 2021. Out of 2021's budget.
Now, that could be an item, but as far as the 2021 budget,
You wanna, at the end of the year, you always wanna reconcile your budget.
Sure.
It's gonna be an item you'll have to reconcile when it.
So, it's very easily reconciled by going to the contingency at the end of the year and
yes.
taking care of it.
Y'all will pay off that stuff all right at the beginning.
Right.
So whatever y'all decide to.
As soon as we get the,
I'm patient.
So the fees are coming in.
But then we need to go back on that compressor.
no,
Well, when we have 15,000, but if we're gonna pay already 5,000, so it's really gonna drop it down to 10,000.
no, because it's coming out of next year's budget. We're gonna pay it out of next year's
Okay,
budget.
okay,
It's coming off the loan.
Yeah,
budget.
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna make the payment.
We're gonna make the
Right,
payment
right.
to them.
Yeah.
Now, you can reduce that 16,000 to 5,000 or 6,000, because we're just gonna make the payment this
Right,
year.
right.
Well, I thought we were gonna pay it off. Y'all said a while ago you were gonna pay it off.
No, we're gonna make the payment October 1, next
Next year,
October
pay it
1,
off.
pay it
What-
off.
Pay it
what-
off.
Okay, you got 16,000 in there. What are you gonna put in there? As a payoff?
So the payment for next year would be 6,000.